Yay! Sorry, I disappeared for a little bit because my laptop decided to sing the song and
I
I
like
was
the
just running it.
intro.
I know,
I
isn't it
like.
cute?
Okay,
Worked really hard on it.
I love it.
Okay.
Hmm.
I think I am echoing because my laptop decided to turn on. That's weird.
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, you don't hear an echo? Or maybe it's just in my head.
Yeah, I don't hear an
Okay, so
echo.
I think I'm just hearing things. All right, so well, 13 minutes to get set up. That was not bad. It was a lot better than last time, though. That's for sure. All right, let's get started with the intro and all that
Yeah, I
fun
was supposed to get my
stuff.
noodles. I was supposed to get my noodles done.
You know what's funny
Yeah,
was that
late.
you're the one that was like, we should have our noodles ready, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, and then
And I was the one who was totally late. I'm like, dang
mm-hmm.
it.
All right, so
So sorry.
hello everybody. Welcome to the fourth installment of Crafty Mess. This would have to be, well, this would have been the fifth, but of course Texas was going through a winter apocalypse, and we pretty much decided to like push it, like cancel that episode and do this instead. So typically we would be crafting and chatting about all the shenanigans and stuff that's happening on YouTube, social media, and pop culture. But today we felt like, it would be fun for our first live stream to do a mukbang style, which was Mel's idea because she watches a lot of mukbangers. It's not my thing, but it's definitely her thing, and it's kind of funny how we have like different like interests. So she'll know more about this topic than I do. But yeah, this is my lovely
Yeah.
co-host here, Mel. So let's see. Yeah, we're gonna just eat our spicy ramen, and I'm just gonna fall apart on camera while we do that. And so yeah, Mel, what's in your ramen today? Anything special?
Um, are you gonna put the sauce in your
Oh yeah,
ramen
I
first?
need to. Oopsie. Yeah, I need to do that.
You seem you seem to be hesitating.
I know. Well, I was hoping that you'll forget. And here's me taking like the tiniest little snip ever. Because it's like one drop can literally kill
I
you.
see it, but I know. No, to
There.
be fair, you are allowed to just put as much as you can because
I know.
KL has very low pain tolerance for
It's
spicy
either I
food.
have a low. No. Let's correct this. Either I have a very low pain tolerance for spiciness, or Mel has an exceptionally high pain tolerance for spicy food. Like the way she can eat
I
spicy food is she can eat like ghost peppers and stuff and be totally fine. So I think she's the one with the problem here, not me. Like I have a normal spice level of tolerance here. Did you put in the whole pack for yours?
I still remember almost. I didn't put too much because I didn't like it too saucy.
Oh, okay. I did.
But like I still remember the time that we were in Hawaii. Do you remember that time we were in Hawaii that we did that video of you eating? I can't remember what it was, but you took one bite and your face was like, "Whoa!" It was so spicy for you. You don't
It
remember
was
in
shrimp.
Hawaii? Did you
No,
block
no,
that
I
from
remember.
your memory?
No, oh yeah, I did because
Shrimp.
it
That's
gives me
right.
PT.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me PTSD. But but it was shrimp, and I forgot it was like from like it was from like a truck, right?
It was a no, like it's like a storefront, but it's a small storefront. Was it a truck? Man, it's been years
It was
ago
a
now. I
shack.
can't
It
remember.
was a shack that.
It was a shack. Yes, it was a shack.
Okay,
But I
because
still
we can't call.
that was a good memory.
Yeah, I was just like, there's a couple things questionable about this. First of all, we're buying seafood from a shack that looked like it's being held up by like two pieces of wood.
Hey, it was in Hawaii.
I know, it's still, and don't get me wrong, it's still a really good, like, it's still really popular.
Um,
There was like a line, going around it, but I have a food cam, which
yeah,
is
that's
kind
what I meant.
of, but like,
I
I think
know
I did enough.
I don't have one. I Chaos fancier.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like,
not as red
this-
as mine. Look how red mine is compared to yours.
that's how much the
Okay, that's
packet
fine.
is still left.
Yeah. It's like still brand new. Are you sure you didn't miss anything?
I did. Here, look up close.
So
See?
should we? Oh, I see. Okay, just like a drizzle. It was like a sriracha drizzle.
Yeah, yeah. I'm being fancy
Okay,
about
don't kill
it.
yourself. Don't kill yourself.
Okay. That's
I
all.
know,
There.
right?
There.
Yeah. So before we start, we
Okay.
should probably put a disclaimer out there. Whatever we're talking about, obviously, we don't want to have any type of hate directed to other people that are the subjects that are being spoken in this video. Just be kind and everything. And if you want to have if you have comments, feel free to comment in the comment section below, and then we'll get to it. But whatever we're speaking currently and chatting on this video is more opinions than anything. It's definitely not facts, and we kind of just want to just have a chit chat, a girl chit chat, see like what the heck is going on in the mukbang world, and also we're tapping into a little bit of true crimes, right? KL, I think that's something that we definitely want to add on as part of this channel, because some of these stories are pretty incredible.
They're intense.
So
and I just spilled
the
some
first
wine.
story, so we should jump into the first story, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So the first story is actually, I just recently discovered her. I've never really watched her video, and since then I went back to her channel, and she hasn't uploaded since like a year ago, maybe even more than a year ago. So now I'm actually a little bit worried for her. But her name is Kate Yup, and she apparently just eats a lot of like huge amount of seafood in her mukbang. But in some of the videos, apparently you could hear that there's like some guy whispering, in the background, like probably behind the camera, saying like keep eating, or like this and that, like forcing her to eat. She kept saying in other videos that she's not being forced to eat. She enjoys eating, but a lot of when you watch the videos, it almost looks like she hasn't eaten for days. And then all of a sudden, she has this huge seafood feast. And then what's even most scary is that the last video on her channel was a video of her losing two teeth. Like she ate to a point that she's losing 2 teeth. She's very 3. Was it 3? Okay, yeah, sorry. 3. Yes, it was. And then they were thinking that it could be because of the amount of food that she's eating, she could also be bulimic. I mean, how can you eat so much food and not gain weight? Because she's still fairly thin. So that's the only thing I can think about teeth, losing your teeth, because that's usually from like throwing your food up. Because all that stomach acid or whatever is like really detrimental to your gums and your teeth. What do you think? Did you watch the video?
Yes.
I haven't taken a bite yet, so.
Okay. So there's a couple of things about Kate Yup, and when you brought this to my attention, like obviously every time you bring a topic to me, I get obsessed over it, and I go into the deep end. Yeah. So with Kate Yup, she reminds me very much of like the whole Marina Joyce thing, but she was more in like Marina Joyce was more of like the scene, on the scene side of YouTube, and I think she like started very close to when Shane Dawson, well, a little bit later than Shane Dawson. And so it's like that whole vibe on that side. So there was a time where she wasn't uploading for a couple weeks or something. And then she came back and her eyes looked really dilated. And she was kind of like, when she was doing her haul, she was like just doing like really weird poses. And so people thought she got abducted or something. So I guess with Kate Yup, people are thinking that, like with Kate Yup, people are thinking that she got abducted and someone was holding her hostage. And the thing is, the reason why I think this rumor kind of came about was because there was a girl who did go missing around the same time. Carly Goose or Carly Gus, I think that's her name. But she was 16 at the time when she went missing, and that was in October 18. Kate Yup started her channel in April 2018. So that doesn't really like match up for me.
Oh.
But there is another like girl that they think is Kate Yup, Joanna Dredzecki. She's a Polish mixed martial artist, and it makes sense because Kate Yup did show up a couple of times with like bruises on her body. And then like the whole teeth falling out thing, like maybe Joanna was like in a fight and like some of her teeth got knocked out, so she saved it and then like did the video and then like kind of showed the teeth. Like that could have been part of the conspiracy as well, that like Kate Yup and Joanna is the same people. If you like look at their pictures, even like
it could also explain like, some of the bruises.
Yeah, but like even her mouth, like they both look very similar, but I mean obviously it's just like conspiracy, like we don't know if that's a but the thing was like with Kate Yup though, when she captions some of her stuff, a lot of people were saying like, oh, it's weird how she captions things and the way it like obviously like some of the lettering is like capitalized to make it look like it's spelling out help, but that's probably like the way she writes. But another thing is that she's probably not a native English speaker, so the way she speaks is also probably, or write is probably very different too.
I think didn't they pinpoint her video to be like somewhere in France?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought that at some point they said they like kind of looked at the geo or whatever. And they said it was somewhere in France, so I thought she might be like French. That's why the way her captions, it's not, she's foreign.
So people are like looking at her IP address to pinpoint like her actual location. What if she's using a VPN? By the way, NordVPN, do you want to sponsor?
I don't know if she, yeah,
or ExpressVPN.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like they found it. Yeah, right.
I mean, I guess like the whole like. Even when she's eating, and I guess people are boosting the volume and saying that they can hear a voice of another man or someone giving her cues. But again, I think that's subliminal, right? Like sometimes when I'm editing my own videos, I hear like extra noises and hums, and I guess it could depend on what I want it to sound like. So like your brain can make up messages. So if you're really looking or trying to hear something, you probably are trying to hear a guy tell Kate Yup to like eat more. Now, the thing with Kate though, like as far as her being like abducted and being forced to like make these videos, I think that's plausible? I think that's like being into like the true crime world and stuff. I think that's very far-fetched. Do I think there's something going on in her life? Probably, but it's probably somewhere in the middle, right? Like how severe of whatever she's dealing with, maybe ED or mental health or familial or so I don't know. It's just, I think it's just interesting how like there's Mel has to get water. I think it's just interesting how there has to be like there's a conspiracy and people are really, really into it, and then it just goes off the rails completely.
I think it's just her behavior was just not like, I don't know. I think there were a couple of videos that at least I heard, you could hear a person say, keep eating. It's like clear. And then also like the bruises on her hands, but if she does, if she is in martial arts and stuff like that, so that could explain that too.
I mean, at the end of the day, we don't really know who she is. We just know that she posts on YouTube.
She hasn't uploaded a video. Yeah, and she hasn't uploaded a video in like almost maybe more than a year. So that's very worrisome.
Yeah, that is, but at the same time, like I know, so there's a couple of people that I follow that just stop posting videos for a year or 2 years as well. And like one person that I think is kind of funny is Permink, and he hasn't posted for almost a year, and people were worried about him, and he made a Twitter response saying that, hey, look, like, YouTube was just a fun, like he had a lot of followers too, and he just like, I guess, made a post saying that YouTube was just a fun side thing for me, but then it kind of got too stressful because of like some of the drama that was going on and stuff, and so he just decided to stop posting. So I think people who like have other jobs and other responsibility outside of YouTube, like you can just stop posting. Like you don't like post as often as well. But it's because you haven't had questionable, not controversial, but like creepy things going on with their videos prior. People aren't thinking, oh, she's missing or she got, abducted or something. You just went off because you had to, build your home and you had to work and stuff like that. So maybe it's a similar situation to Kate, except leading up to her not uploading, she was very mysterious and stuff. And I think, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure there's something going on. But at the same time, like everyone has something going on as well. So I guess I don't know. I do have to say that I do have like a tinfoil here going. My theory is she's probably a famous YouTuber, and because she wanted to do yeah, this is my theory, is that she's probably a famous YouTuber and she wanted to do mukbang. But you know how like when you're a YouTuber, you have like a brand, you have to like stick to that style. And when you do something different, like your fans like really dislike it. Even if you do, start a new channel and you're like, hey, I'm doing this other thing. Like other people from your old videos will still migrate and still be like, hey, why aren't you uploading on your main channel? Especially if you find something that like you really enjoy and you want to do a switch. Like for me right now, I'm doing this because I think it's so much fun. I get to talk to you on a weekly basis. And I'm not uploading on my other channel as much. And I still have people asking me, how come you're not uploading? And it's just because I'm not as passionate about doing YouTube DIYs, so therefore I'm here. So that's what I'm thinking that might be, is another like famous YouTuber doing that. And here's the thing, I want to throw this out into the world, and I'm not saying that this is an actual fact, but do you know Miranda Sings or Colleen Ballinger? She's like really, really popular.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in 2018, let me try to get the right date going on here. So in 2018, she had her son, and then she wasn't as, she wasn't uploading as much on her main channel. So, and she has kind of like very similar like mouth shape and like body type and stuff as Kate Yep. So like it would be interesting to think that like she had her son and then like she started a mukbang channel and like she was like mysterious about it. Like I wouldn't put it past anyone that is on YouTube to do that. So I'm just tinfoiling here. But I was looking at like Kate's Social Blade.
But to lose 3 teeth?
But do we know that that's actually real? Like, did she smile afterwards and saw that? And did we see like it was hollow, or like she just spat it out? Because like you can buy fake teeth and just like, because I know, because there's another thing that
she spat it out, and it could be in the back world, so you can't really see it.
Yeah, so maybe she could have just like had it in her, like, bought fake teeth, had it in her mouth, and then spat it out. Like we don't know until we see what's inside of her mouth, right? Are those, and again, are those wisdom teeth? Like maybe she went and had those pulled out and she told the dentist, hey, can I save those? And then like go extra trolling. Because there was a time when like people thought she was abducted, and then she was annoyed by it. And then I think she kind of like went along with it for a little bit. And that teeth stuff happened after that, after like the first conspiracy coming out. So there's I guess there is a chance that it could be the case, but at the same time, I don't know. I think I don't want to be like putting all of my eggs into okay, she must be abducted. But do I think she has like other issues that could probably cause the teeth to fall out? Maybe. Who knows? Stranger things have happened, I guess. Are you frozen?
Well, I don't know. My Wi-Fi has just been like weird.
Oh, are you just lagging then?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm lagging. I'm gonna get more water.
I'm saving myself here because I have a big tall glass of like oat milk. Because I knew yours was like
Do you like oat milk?
red. I do.
Yeah.
Yours is like
I forgot because like I went to Starbucks. Yeah, I put most of the sauce in. I forgot to Starbucks to get a Impossible sausage sandwich, and I forgot that was like closer to our mukbang session, so I ate all that. So I'm getting full, even though I'm like going for some sweet.
Did you eat your ramen already?
Huh?
You ate your whole bowl of ramen already?
Getting full.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I'm like, I knew you're a fast eater, but
yeah, I have a little bit left.
But
it's just weird for like for this girl to be eating so much seafood. All of it was like there were like no other variety except it was just all seafood.
yeah, I was watching like this other girl that was eating like a live octopus and like what's her name? The really famous one that was like pretty much murdering sea animals.
I forgot. It was almost cruel the way she's like doing that, and it's just like, is she from Korea? I think so. Like they like to eat fresh seafood, but that was just too much. I can't remember her name now. We have to leave it somewhere or.
Well, I mean, I saw there was a clip of her like it was awful, and like she was like rubbing salt on like an octopus, and you can see it like. I was like, I can't do that. It's. I mean, I'm not vegan, but at the same time, it's like I can't. It's too much, you know. So
I know. Like, what's the point of rubbing the salt all over her?
I mean, I think okay. So I know that like there's yeah, I know like in Japan you can eat like a live squid on the chopstick, but like the way they do it is that the squid actually is already dead before they serve it to you. And the reason why it's still twitching is because it's just nerves. But with this other girl, she's like swallowing it alive, and it's like it's too much for me. I mean I get
it was so bad.
Yeah, but I mean, seafood is big in the mukbang world. Well, seafood and ramen, right?
Oh my gosh.
I think
Huh? Sorry. Am I pausing again? I should take it off Wi-Fi.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I wonder if my Wi-Fi. How do I do this? Hold on a second.
Holding. Well, I eat my ramen.
Holding. Okay, I wonder if this is better. Is this better?
I guess. I don't. I think so. Does it seem like you're lagging when we're talking?
See you.
I'm right here. You don't see me? I'm still right here.
Okay. No,
I see you. Okay.
Okay. After I took it off Wi-Fi, I think it was going through the buffering.
Okay. I think we're not so laggy, are we?
I hope not.
We will see. So, but I think with the whole Kate Yep thing, honestly, like she was on YouTube for 2 years. Let's say the first year she made $100,000, and the second year she maybe made $80,000. She probably cashed out $180,000 and was just like, "Hey, this is like winning a lottery," and then just walked away. Like I would be okay with that myself, you know.
Yeah, but how long is that gonna last?
Yeah, but I think the concept now today with YouTube is that people are making channels to make content and then they just kind of like walk away from it. They're not using it to make like lifelong branding anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like I know some people have like 5 or 6 channels. They have their main channel and their 5 or 6 channel has nothing to do with their main channel. Like it's not even a vlog or an offshoot or anything. It's completely opposite of who they are. And it's just there to monetize, you know?
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So for all we know, she
I have
could
a
be
lot
a
of
famous
channels.
YouTuber. Yeah. For all we know, she could be a
Yeah.
famous YouTuber and who knows. So
I'm full. I think I had too much of the food from this morning.
I'm slowly grazing. So I'm not in that much
How is
pain.
it? No, it's not
It's
too
good.
spicy, right?
No, it was because I have so much stuff in here. I had like cauliflower and cucumbers and mushrooms and tofu to like help it out a little
Nice.
bit. So like when we were thinking about doing this, we thought the black one was the really spicy one, but turns out it was the red one that was the extra spicy one, and the black one was
Yeah,
just
the
like
red one.
the regular. Yeah.
Regular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I already had it because I bought it a couple
Yeah.
weeks before.
Did you buy it by accident? Because I was surprised that you even had it.
Well, I bought both of them. I was like, just in case. And I'm glad I did because once the winter storm came about, like all ramen was completely off the shelf.
Yeah.
And then I was going to eat it. I was just like, maybe this will warm me up because electricity was going on and off. But then I was like, yeah, but then we don't have like water to flush the toilet. And like, do I really want to suffer through that as well? So I decided not to eat it. It was
Okay.
it was a whole it was a whole conundrum there. So, but I mean, and again, you know, she also let's go back to Kate Yep real quick. She did get doxxed. I mean, there was like because you know people did find out where she lived. They did call the police in her town to make wellness checks, and she was just like, look, she started YouTube because she wanted to stay private, and now that she's getting doxxed, it's kind of like, you know, like completely the opposite of the point of when she started it. And so then maybe that's the reason why she walked away.
To stay
I mean, like, yeah. And so, and then like, I don't know if you saw the link that I sent you, but like in her third video, there was a quote where she said, "No, I'm lying. In fact, there is people torturing me every day without even knowing it. All of those people who are continuing to spread this rumor." And that's what she said in the video. So she's basically saying that like you guys are the one that's torturing me, not like whatever theory you're coming out with. And so and yeah, and then like maybe she was just like, you know, my privacy has been invaded, and so she just probably got off too. So there's that. Like I'm pretty like I'm on social media because I think I've been there for a long time. Yeah, but like if the moment someone doxes me or whatever, I'm like, nope, I'm done. This is like it's not fun anymore. You know, like when you know where anyone works or live or whatever, it's just like, nope, this is too much. You know, so that could be it too.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just some of these things it's crazy because yes, we agree to put our it's not really lies because you know we do keep a lot of it private. But everyone, just because we're on YouTube doesn't mean that we don't have the rights to privacy either, you know, just like everybody else, you know, and like we're on here to give others just another avenue to, you know, discuss and talk about and chit chat and things like that. It's just entertainment, right? But that doesn't mean that we give up privacy along with that.
Well, this is how I see.
It's
What was that?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying like this is how I see social media. It's like going to a bar, talking to random people, meeting random people, sharing your opinions, talking about like gossip or whatever you talk about when you meet someone at the bar. But then when you leave the bar, you just leave the bar. It's not like that. But if that the person you were talking to decided, you know, I'm going to follow her home and figure out where she lived. it's
Right.
I see it very similarly. Like, on social media, we show up here, we talk about stuff, we, whatever we're comfortable with sharing. And if you're not comfortable sharing it and someone like reveals that information, that's not cool. It's the same with going out and having a good time. Like if there's information you're not comfortable with sharing and someone in that same room was like, hey, KL used to be blah, 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 like in the room, like that's not
Yeah.
cool, So that's how I see it.
Yeah.
I think more people need to have that mentality because, with everything that's going on, people are living online more often, and I don't think a lot of people are clear on what the internet etiquette is. So I don't know. If she's getting off because she got doxxed, I think that's fair.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, obviously, she probably got scared and decided to not make any more videos. I do hope that she's okay. At the end of the day, we obviously don't want the like, we don't want things to bad happen to her. So, at the end of the day, which I just want to make sure that I just want to know that she is okay. So, and I'm sure she is. Yeah. But then it leads us to another true crime. Oh, go ahead, finish.
No, I was just gonna say, I was just like, I was watching some of the mukbang videos because I was like, I need to freshen up in this world. And it looks like, I mean, the food that they eat, like, obviously, it's definitely 5 or 6 servings, but it's also, like, very zoomed in, so it looks even bigger than it is. Like, I was watching...
You think it's zoomed in?
Yeah, like, they're using, like, because, like, the food is, like, in front while the person's in the back. So the person always, like, perception-wise, looks smaller than all the stuff that's, like, right in front of the camera, right?
Okay.
So it looks it looks like size-wise big too. But I mean, obviously, even with portion, it's ridiculous because don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of food, but I think it just looks like way insane, more insane on camera because it's like up here and like the person is just like tiny over here. But I think it's because it's a camera angle thing too. Because I was watching Stephanie Sue eat something recently, and it was like 4 Korean burrito things, and I mean they look like they're this big each. Don't get me wrong, they're still big, but there was only 4 of them, and the way the camera's angled, it made it look like they were like this big. But if you actually see the person, it was like this. Like when she held it to her mouth, I was like, oh, it's that big. But like the way she had it like positioned, it looked like it was that thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's an interesting world, which I'm probably gonna dive in more.
So what you're saying is that they put the food at a wide angle, which makes it super distorted. That makes sense. But then there are people like Nikocado Avocado who I don't believe that he uses wide angle in his videos. And he definitely has massive amount of food. And his weight gain also tells me that he does eat a tremendous amount of food. It could also be because in the beginning of his channel, he was vegan, and then he decided not to be vegan anymore, and so he ate all this junk and everything, which led in part to his obesity. I would say I want to say he is obese because it's past like it's like night and day between his old self and his current self. But also the drama that goes with him. I think at one point early on in the beginning, I did subscribe to him because he was vegan. But then afterwards, past that, like with all his like crying and just so much drama on his videos, that I decided not to subscribe to him anymore. And it was just one after another of like constant drama with him. And it was just like, okay, I kind of just want to see people eating their food and enjoying themselves, not really necessarily listening to so much of him crying like all the time. So it's supposed to be like mukbang is supposed to be happiness.
Well, my question is
make
why
you happy.
Well, why do you watch it? Because I'm watching some of it and I was just like, what is this? Well, what am I watching here? Like, yeah, no, you would have to explain this to me because I guess I don't quite get it.
the whole mukbang world started because sometimes people are eating alone, and then they like to have someone else, to eat with. So a lot of times they prepare their own meals and they sit down and they watch these mukbangs. So it's almost like chatting and talking to a friend, just like what we're doing, but we're live. Part of the reason I also subscribed to Stephanie in the beginning, I don't subscribe to her anymore because I don't know, I just find her to be a little bit slightly fake, but I'm not sure yet. It could also be because she's very cautious of who she makes friends with, which is totally okay. But I had subscribed to her in the beginning was because of her stories. She was a great storyteller, so I would sit there and I would just listen to her eat the food, which is always good. And a lot of times those are foods that sometimes I don't want to eat it myself. So that's also another one. It's like you enjoy another person eating food that you don't really want to put in your body. Like fast food or like some things like that. But also because she has great storytelling, so I would listen to her stories. And that it's just more like sort of like a podcast, but mukbang session.
Okay, because I know that there's like for example,
You really have to enjoy eating food.
Wait, I was about to say, I was like, with the Kate Yep situation, like she wasn't really telling stories; she's just eating. So I'm like, how is that enjoyable to watch? Because I could only get through maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and the only reason why I watched, honestly, the only reason why I watched her video was because like everything that was in her video was captioned, so I actually have to watch it. Versus like when people talk, I can turn on this transcript and like just read the transcript instead if I'm like whatever, want to skip to a certain part. So like with Kate, I was like, why would anyone like watch that? I can understand like Stephanie or Nikocado where they're telling stories and they're dramatic and stuff,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there are some people who actually watch based on ASMR. Just some people like that. I actually don't watch those videos. I don't subscribe to mukbang channels that only do ASMR because I think that's kind of it doesn't fulfill my senses. I don't like there are just some people who actually who enjoy those type of sounds and it just gives them a certain high or something like that. But I actually watch the ones that talk, like people who talk in their videos. So there is a mukbang ASMR. I think that's and that has a pretty big following too.
Yeah, but it's just like slurping and cracking and I don't mind chewing and sounds or slurping sounds and stuff because like I think in Asian culture it's just so normal to hear that when you're eating around family and stuff. Just people are just constantly slurping. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. It's just I guess like when you're in I guess it does when it's like back to back to back videos. Like if you have like like 10 ASMR mukbang videos like running in the background for research, then yeah, it can be a little bit too much. I'm like, I guess I don't know how but then again, I do weird things too. So who am I to judge? I'm just curious to like as to why people are interested in it, if they can explain it, So maybe they can't. Maybe it's just something. It's just that one of those, unexplainable things,
I forgot what is. I think it's like auditory sensor something response, but it's just like there are some people who enjoy that immensely. It's like it fulfills them. And for me, that's not one that does it for me. So yeah, I mean, they do have a big following, and that's why there are people who actually there are people who have a regular mukbang channel, and then there are people like they even separate their channel to a different channel that's specifically ASMR, and they have like specific like mics to pick up that sound. Yeah.
That's. I mean,
crazy.
I know some.
Am I still lagging?
Yeah,
Because I feel like I am.
yeah, just a little bit, but it's fine. I think we'll figure it out. I don't know if it's you that's lagging or if it's me because we're having some internet issues here because of the storm too. So I don't know if that's the case, but
Okay. Hopefully by next week it'll be better. I'm supposed to get my
Yeah,
computer fixed soon, so
yeah, but I don't know, it's an interesting world, and I have definitely listened to way too many mouth sounds this past week. So now I'm just gonna take a break from that for a week or two before I go back to do more mukbang research for our next live session, because that was a lot. Like, I guess I could do, the sound of wood chopping, and I love the
yeah.
sound of like fabric being torn and stuff. So maybe that's my like my stimuli, but it's just, I don't know. It was weird, and like my partner was like, "What the heck
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
watching?" I'm
yeah.
like, "I'm watching a dude eat. Oh, what's your problem?" Like, this is my thing now. It's just, yeah, I know my daughter, she saw one of the videos of Nikocado like eating
And he was just
spaghetti,
looking
and
at you
she's
like,
just like,
okay.
yeah, and no, and she was just kind of like, "Mommy, what's that? So much noodles, so much noodles." I'm like, hey, it's a lot of noodles. So
That's so cute. Oh my
I
gosh.
know, I should stop doing YouTube drama research around my
I
my
mean, our
child.
next mukbang session, yeah. I think like it doesn't our mukbang session doesn't always have to be around mukbangs too. Like obviously like I think maybe we should just save our mukbang sessions for the true crimes. Like that would be pretty cool because that's all we're going to be doing is just talking about true crime stuff, right? And then the rest of it could
Yep.
be like drama, YouTube drama.
Yeah. Yep. Do you want to go
Whatever.
into our true?
Whatever we want
Do you
to
want to go into
talk
our true
about.
crime story? Oops. What
Yeah,
happened?
you know what? You might actually also have to help me because I'm not very good with like details. So, but our next true crime story. Am I still on? Okay, our next true crime story is about these mean girls. I actually follow a she Kendall. I follow her on YouTube, and I think that she is great at storytelling. She's very detailed too. And recently, she had talked about these mean girls who, there were three friends. They all like, I want to say they grew up together, and they became friends. But then two of them decided to veer off and started just being on themselves, like being with themselves and just hang out, just the two of them. And then the third felt left out. And then like they all had Twitter, and all of them, they would like go on Twitter to do these updates or whatever. And the third one, she would just keep saying that, I don't need you guys and things like that. I don't know. Towards the end, I think it was where there was one night that she came back from work. She told her parents that she was going to go to bed, and then she went upstairs, and then in the middle of the night, she snuck out of her bedroom and she left. And then there were cameras in the neighborhood that showed her getting into a car, and then drove away. And then since then, they couldn't find her. Turns out, eventually, and it turns out that and then one of her friend stopped by the house or the called and just try to give her or just trying to be helpful and like just saying that she wants to help find her, um, and just giving her like her like full support. And then the other girl wasn't doing the same. Actually, she was away on a cruise, and she came back to hear of the disappearance of her friend. So yeah, like I think I don't know. I forgot names. You probably know the names more than us. But it was like one girl. The main girl was the one that got was disappeared. She disappeared. Her name was like starts with a K, right?
Skylar.
No, Skylar. Never mind. Yeah, Skylar. She was the one that disappeared. I'm like so bad with like names and details. She disappeared, and then they went searching for her and things like that. Her dad eventually did put out a disappearance, uh, like through the police report, just for her to try to find her. And then this other girl just kept trying to get support, but it just eventually it just sounded very mysterious to the cops, and they just kept asking for the two to come back into the station. This was after the other girl came back from her cruise, and the two of them eventually did go into the station to do an interview with them, and then I think eventually a polygraph. But one didn't know that the other one confessed, because I think it was all that pressure that was on her of the crime, that they both committed. So she confessed, but the other one continued on saying that, she even went on Twitter saying like, where are you, Skylar? We miss you. We want you to be found, which I find it to be another level completely of someone committing a crime and pretending to be like the lost, or to be like the helpful friend, which is that's a type of character that I do not trust, like to be able to put on a two-face kind of thing. Well, anyways, the other girl completely broke down and did confess that they took Skylar to a nearby wooded area that they used to hang out with, and then eventually both of them, after Skylar turned around to go back to the car to pick up something, I forgot what it was, they both turned to her and stabbed her, I believe like 50 times or more, or something like that, and then buried her out there. Actually, not even buried. Like, I think it was just like leaves or something that was like on her, but just covered her up. And then they had clothes and things ready in the car, in the trunk, to like, change and get out of them, and then they dumped the clothes somewhere else. But apparently the other person was the one that actually knew about a lot of the stuff to cover up a crime scene. Like it's still not very good. Like, I don't know. For me, I could never go out there and be like, specifically be plotting murder. I just find it so hard. Like, how can you take someone's life no matter how much you hate that person? I would just rather just go about my own business and just ignore the person, and just cut them out of my life, not cut them out of earth completely. Like, I know that's just so weird. Like, just take them out of earth, like, what the? So yeah,
they literally did that.
Details to me, like, they totally did that. They totally took I just find it so crazy that they could resort to that. Like, obviously the other girl was racked with guilt and she confessed, but that one who actually I would think that she was the leader of it all. Playing along and also plotting all this stuff and everything, like, and pretending to offer support to the parents. Like, that's another level entirely. Yeah, I don't know. What did you think of the story?
Okay. Again, like, Mel brings me these topics and I just fall into a rabbit hole of like of stuff. So here I am. So the three girls that she's talking about is Skylar Neese is the girl that got murdered. The friend that she knew when she was really young, like around five or six or something, is Sheila Edie. And then they met a girl in high school named Rachel Shove. So those are the three girls. Now, Sheila and Rachel ended up getting really close, and they're the one that committed the murders. Rachel is the one that confessed and told the cops the details about everything. And she confessed after she had a mental breakdown when she realized that her dad was moving back into the house with her mom, because they were like going through separation and stuff, but the parents felt like, we need to, figure this out because she's going through something. So, I mean, the story, when I heard the story, I like texted Mel. I was just like, yo, this is very similar to a Law and Order episode that I saw, and I love Law and Order. So it was that particular episode aired in 2004. The murder happened in 2000 and wait, yeah, 2012. So I was telling Mel, I was just like, it would not be far-fetched to think that maybe they've seen that episode and kind of was inspired by it. I'm not saying that that's 100%. I'm just saying that they're, who knows, right? But in the Law and Order episode, it was actually 4 girls and 3 of them did the murdering, and then the one girl that that was the victim, she like was close with them, but then she wanted to kind of do her own thing and she was changing and being a little bit different. So in this particular story, it's very similar to where it is 3 girls, but 2 of them were still kind of like very close. And then she and Skylar wanted to kind of just like, she was changing and being a little bit different as well. Very similar stories. So then I looked up on Law and Order, like if that particular episode was inspired by something else, and that episode was inspired by a case in 1992 with the murder of Shonda Scherer, and she was 12. Very similar thing where there was 3 girls. Yeah, I think there was 3 girls that abducted her and just did horrible things to her. So I was just like, okay, it kind of creeps me out because I have a daughter and teenage years is just going to be like horrifying for me while I go through that with her. But I was just thinking like, how percentage wise, like how prevalent does this happen? Like I know girls in high school, we've all been through that phase where it's just like you want to fit in, or there are certain people where you feel like, oh, you're being left out and things like that. Like I get that, but like to get to the point of planning a murder, because they did this in science class too. Like they were planning this months before, and other people around them in science class was just like, okay, this is weird. So they did tell Skylar, and Skylar was just like, no, it's not, like didn't think too much of it. So I was just thinking like, how often does this happen? But apparently like it's normal for teenage girls to go through their angsty trying to fit in phase and stuff, but it's not normal. Like it's very, very rare. I mean, it's rare for murders to happen in, I guess, upper middle class, if I want to say that. But it's also very, 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 very rare for 3 girls who are pretty much like, they're almost like role models because they were in, music class, they were in theater, they were doing well in school, they had jobs and stuff for that to happen. So I ended up, so I watch Dr. Todd Grande quite often on YouTube, and he kind of talks about like the clinical side of of like mental health and stuff. And so he broke down the psychopathy of those 2 girls. And so like there's this thing called like the dark triad. Basically, to be considered like an evil person, you have to have like a high score on 3 of the dark triad. So like the first one is narcissism, which is like being really into yourself, thinking that you're very like you're better than everyone, thinking you're the greatest, and then the second part of that is psychopathy, which is having like no empathy for other people or things, and then the third one is Machiavellianism, which is the ability to manipulate. And he was just saying how like, you can have all 3 really high and still be a functioning person and not be a murderer. Or you can have 2 of the 3 and, be a murderer. Like you just don't know. But the dangerous combination is to be a Machiavellian, like to have the Machiavellianism trait where you're manipulative, but also be narcissistic. Because what happens is that those 2, because you think highly of yourself as a narcissist, right? Like you're like, you think you're better than any the other people, which is like, Sheila thinking that she is better than Skylar or whatever, or that Skylar's life is not as valuable as her own life, right? So that's the narcissism. And then the Machiavellianism part, the manipulation part, is her going to the parents and saying, I can't believe this happened. Let me help you. She's my best friend. And so when you have those 2 traits, and you're also a killer, it makes you an exceptionally dangerous killer, the type that can go on to be serial killers, because you are so charming. You pretty much look like you fit into society, and no one can pick up on, like, you being kind of weird. Now, if you are, let's say, 2 out of the 3, you're just like narcissistic and psychotic, it's easier for you to pin, oh, that guy's a murderer, because not only does he think highly of himself, but he has no empathy. So he's probably, like, I don't know, in his backyard, like carving a squirrel or something. And so, like, it's easier for you to like pinpoint those people. Does that make sense? And so those people, they
I was gonna say that the video I actually watched last night was talking about that the characteristics of a dark empath. Have you heard of that? And that was exactly something that you had just mentioned. So I think another term for that is a dark empath. And they may not feel the empathy, but they understand it enough to use it and manipulate the other person, because they know that this is how you feel, but it doesn't affect them. That's just so scary to me, to be among the people. Like, I don't know how those things are developed. Something has to be done, like probably has happened in childhood to lead to that. But it's very, very scary to know that there are people like that in this world that don't have that much empathy, and they're using it for their own advantage.
I think with, like, Dr. Grande's video, he says that, like, he doesn't want to go into the rabbit hole of, like, calling them psychopaths, because even throughout the whole case, that it wasn't very clear about what their mental health structure is like, especially with Sheila. But everyone did dub her as, like, oh my goodness, she's a psychopath or whatever. And Rachel was kind of like, in love with Sheila, and she went along for the ride. But, because Dr. Grande was, he tries to be very ethical as well, as far as talking about this kind of stuff. So he's careful about that. For me, on a personal level, like, again, I can't, I don't know. I just cannot, because the way they did it too was just so brutal. And it was just so like they couldn't bury her because the ground was too hard. And so they just left her, like, near a tree with some leaves or something. And I'm just like, like, it's so, it's, and it's, I don't know, it's too much. And, like, and I think what made me really sad is that I watched the Dateline kind of like docu little a bit on that. And there was a video clip. Okay, so when I listen to, like, true crime stuff, like, I like to hear about the 70s and the 80s stuff, because that's really, it's far enough removed from me that I don't feel too emotionally invested. The newer stuff, kind of like the ones that happens in the 2000s, it's harder, only not because it's closer in time, but also because there's more record. So the family has, like, video clips of their children growing up together, and they're playing it on camera and stuff, and it gutted me. Versus, like, the murders in the 70s and 80s, you don't have the video clips, you have just, like, photos and stuff, which I'm not saying that that's not as, like, heartbreaking, but it doesn't, like, for me emotionally, I'm not that invested, but for this one, it was hard, because there was a video of, like, the dad going, hey baby girl, and then, like, Skylar turns around and go, hey daddy. And that's exactly what my partner says to my daughter every morning. Like, when they come downstairs, he would go, hey baby girl, and she would turn around and go, hi daddy. And it just, like, it was too close to home. Yeah. And I was just like, you are never leaving the house, and you're living in my basement for the rest of your life.
Chained to the stove. I don't know.
I know, right?
Poor girl.
I know. Right? So yeah, it's so sad. Like, and the thing was, like, so I watched some of, like, the hearing too. So Skylar, let's see. No, Rachel is supposed to be
You
in jail
did
for
go down
30
a rabbit
years.
hole.
I did, yeah, I did,
Oh yeah.
because I do like the legal side of it too, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But Rachel
Yeah.
is going on, 30 years, and she's going to be paroled after 10, which is very short. And then Sheila is going to be paroled after 15, but she's getting to life. So you're only supposed to serve like what a percentage of your sentence. So like after 15 years, which is coming up in a couple of years here, Sheila can go to the courts and to the parole board and be like, hey, I have reformed in jail, can you let me out? So there's a chance she can be released in a couple of years.
I hope
So
not, because I don't know. I don't know how much you can be reformed in there, like, because I feel like some people who have that type of personality, they're very manipulative. So I think they can manipulate the court system and play the good behavior in jail and just pretend that you're on good behavior, but still be released and still go back to those ways. I honestly think that that's ingrained. I really don't think that that person is reformed.
yeah, well, so Rachel got married in jail. So she and she's gonna
Wow.
be paroled. Yeah, yeah. So she's actually gonna be paroled probably next year or the year after. And she's the one that
Okay.
confessed, right? So her, I feel like she will
Mm-hmm.
have some reform potential, because she was so gutted and guilted that she like had a complete mental breakdown, right? And then she confessed. Sheila, on
Yeah,
the other
she
hand,
did.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not too like, if she were to move down the street from me, I would not be. I would probably be checking up on her myself as as my neighborly duty. So but the thing is, I
Yeah.
think like there's a couple of like psychiatrists that have mentioned that to be that if you're someone who's like in the teens and have committed crimes like that, they should be in jail for at least 20 years, so that other clinical psychiatrists can study them enough to know for a fact if they've reformed, because 10 years is actually too short to actually do that kind of study, especially as a teenager, because you still have to go through your
Yeah.
teenage stage in jail and then your adulthood stage in jail, and then they can really like see, okay, as an adult with your frontal cortex fully developed, are you still a psycho? Like, so like a couple of them have mentioned that at minimum they need to be in jail for 20 years to really know. 10 to 15 is a little bit too short, is what they have suggested or said. For me personally, I think I if it for the family, I can feel for the family. Like I would want those two, Rachel, I would want them to be in jail for the rest of their lives. Like I don't want them to be paroled. I don't want them out in society. But at the same time, there's this other side of me where it's just like, well, sometimes people do get falsely accused, and if we put them to life and they have no chance of parole, then what is the point? And there's another side where it's just like, sometimes there are short mistakes that force them to be in a situation to act up crimes like that. For example, self-defense, whatever. If we take away the opportunity for parole, then that's a problem too. So I guess I'm kind of like, I'm always like on that defense, right? Like
Well,
but
yeah, there is still the chance of, just because they're getting paroled doesn't mean that their life is going to be easy after that. They still will have a record. And life after that is going to be hard. So they're, just because they're paroled doesn't mean that they're still not living in the consequences that they committed, that they created themselves. You know what I mean? That mistake is going to follow them for the rest of their lives. That's for sure.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. They're going to be in the registry. Or, no, not for murder though. For assault, they will. For murder, they're going to be on the registry. I mean, it is
I don't
public
know. I
record
actually
if
don't
you
know.
search for it. Yeah, yeah, because like if you are a sexual predator, you're definitely on that list, right? But if you're a
Mm,
murderer without any
mm.
sexual precursors to it, then I don't think you're on that list. So technically, I guess it depends on where they live too, though, because I think you have to live in a certain area when you're paroled for a while before you get to go further out, because you have to be in the same city so that your parole officer can check up on you too. So agreed. It's not going to be easy for them. But the thing is, because they did this at their teen years, and they're coming out. They could be two different people. You know, you as a teen is very different from you in your 20s, your late 20s and 30s. Like I know that for a fact for myself. I think for me, I would be more nervous if like it was a 30-year-old man who committed this crime and then he comes out at like, you know, he gets paroled at 50, because it's like, no, you're still going to be pretty much the same person because adulthood, right?
Yeah.
So there's that too, but I don't know. It'll be interesting in a couple of years to see Rachel, like how the parole board is gonna see her case, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's so tough because yes, you know, people do deserve second chances. But I don't know. It's like it's tough. You know, you took
Yeah.
another person's life without even considering. And I get Rachel did have remorse completely, because like otherwise she wouldn't have broken down and confessed. Um, but Sheila, oh no, is that Sheila? Yeah, Sheila on the other hand, I just don't see the same for her. Like I think Rachel can still go on
Yeah.
having a good, you know, a decent life and still be able to move past, hopefully. But yeah, I am wary about Sheila.
Yeah. I I think Sheila's a special, like a unique individual for sure. What is like the percentage of like someone being born actually evil? I think it's like 0.00021% or something. Like it's very low that you are born totally evil, like without empathy. Like it's very rare for a psychopath to be born. It is more likely that a sociopath is born and then they become psychopaths based on their events. So you know, a lot of our CEOs and stuff are actually sociopaths. And
Oh.
you have to be cutthroat to climb up that, like that ladder of you know, of evil or whatever. But I mean, but you could either become a CEO or even president, is what some people think. Trump was kind of a sociopath, you know,
Yeah.
or something terrible could have happened to you while you're a sociopath as a child and then end up being a psychopath, right? So we don't know what Sheila's history was as a child. I think all we know is that like she was raised by a single mother, and that's pretty much it. And again, you know, sometimes like divorce and stuff that can be hard too on a child. So we don't really know for sure. But I agree with you. Sheila is going to be interesting. I would not want her to live next door. Rachel, okay, you can be 10 blocks away from me, so that I would give, but yeah, it's
Yeah, how about the next state over? How about several states
yeah.
over?
Yeah, and the thing is like I guess like where was I going with that? It's sad. Like it's sad for the families. It's sad for the community. It's also sad for the girls that commit the crime as well, because it's just like they're all so young. Like it's just sad for everyone all around. It's sad for the people who had to like prosecute, the people who had to do the investigation and see the photos. Like it's I don't know. I think
It is.
it's just really it's a tragic story, and it's unfortunate that it's going to continue to happen. There's more stories like this that's going to continue to come out, because you know, if you don't know how to regulate your emotion, you will commit crimes that are very petty that can lead to something much more major. And I think like Mel asked me, she's just like,
Just the
how can
other
we
day,
work in true?
my siblings,
No, Mel, you go first.
I was just saying just the other day. Oh, I was saying just the other day, like my siblings had sent me a link of an article, and I believe it was close to my parents' home, and it was about a kid actually killed or assaulted. No, I think maybe assaulted another kid, and they were siblings. Now that's even like, to I think, yeah, it has a lot to do with upbringing. It has a lot to do with like the teaching at home, that this type of behavior is not allowed and very have to nip it in the bud. Maybe kids should possibly, have child psychiatrists or psychologists, growing up, just so that we know that they're mentally like growing, correctly. Like, I don't know how to put it, but yeah, like I just find that to be very shocking for kids to be committing crimes, not adults. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy to me.
It's
It's sad.
I know it's crazy and it's sad, but it's also like not out of the realm of possibility, because like toddlers are like little sociopaths. Like I have one, and let me tell you, sometimes I'm like, are you gonna like end me tonight because I didn't give you candy? No, because it's that, like, they they act upon very primal needs and very primal, like, what's it called, stimulus. So and that's part of being a toddler. They get very angry, then they get very happy, and then they manipulate you, they negotiate. It's part of being a toddler. And to have a healthy toddler, you have to understand how to not manage, but like help them regulate those emotions, right? And unfortunately, there's not a lot of parents out there who do understand that. They just assume that a toddler should just do what you ask, but that's not the case. And then what happens? Abuse happens, right? So I don't get me wrong, I get it. Like, it can be very tough, and I only have one, and she is very headstrong. So I get it, like after the sixth no, you're just like, dude, what don't you get? So I get it, but at the same time, like, that's part of being a kid. That's part of like experiencing these emotions. And I think our job as adults or parents or role models in these children's lives, may you be a teacher or a counselor or whatnot, like, you need to help them with those emotions, and you need to protect them and care for them and nurture them, and I'm glad that we're in a time now where there's a lot more research on child development, that now the chances of us raising more empathetic and compassionate people is more likely. And I'm seeing it already, even in like millennials, like amongst our peers who are also business owners, who are way more compassionate with how they treat their employees, so I'm already seeing it in our peer group. So I can't imagine what, like my daughter's peer group is going to be like. And I'm more hopeful there, but the main thing is,
do is just, look in the past and learn from it and move on.
Yeah. But the main thing is definitely wear a helmet, because apparently a lot of murderers have had bumps on their heads. So there's that.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's very important.
That's your words of wisdom?
Yeah, that's my words of wisdom. Yeah. Just make sure you protect the front cortex right there, and your child won't grow up to be murderers or but yeah, so it's we got some too heavy topics.
Let's hope.
Well, let's wrap this up. Two heavy topics for a spicy meal. Yeah. All right. So, do you want to wrap this up now?
Yes.
Do you want to sign us off?
Yeah. So, I mean, should we do our regular sign up? Because it's not really about.
No, it's kind of laggy right now. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, same. Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this. Like, we enjoy talking about these topics. And of course, if there are any type of, like, true crime stories that you want us to touch upon, or maybe any other tea that you want us to touch upon, feel free to let us know. And we'll take a look at it and come back next one. I believe that we are okay to schedule our next one for next Friday or this. Yes, next Friday. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, our Wi-Fi and just our internet is a little loud now, but hopefully that'll be situated for next week. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this. I enjoy talking about these topics and with KL, obviously. So, KL, you have anything to add?
You can find us on our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and well, TikTok. We haven't been very active on either of them, but winter storm situation on my end. But we're gonna try to be a little bit better. And yeah, follow us there, and we'll catch you guys in the next live. Because going forward, it's just gonna be live from now on. So yay!
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, cool. I'm up for that. Bye.